parents, they are very worried about their children, that they want their children to have a secure job. And you
Life doesn't go in a straight line. It goes up and down and it goes sideways, you know.
and if they are starting, what sort of strategies they should make to market their new startups, new businesses.
Who was the boss of my boss, and I was heading the product development back then.
As a human being, I feel insecure. I feel scared of failures. I think that I should not make mistakes. I should get success overnight. Is it possible? No, not at all. If we see the history of successful entrepreneurs, Elon Musk, Steve Jobs, and Bill Gates, they have faced many difficulties, they have faced many failures in their life. And after those failures, they haven't made those mistakes again and again. So it means failure is the biggest teacher to anyone who want to be an entrepreneur, who want to be a successful businessman, who want to change the world. Failure can play a vital role. So in today's podcast, we will be discussing a lot of failures. We will be discussing how you can flourish your business from your mistakes. How can you change the world by learning from your mistakes? Because we will be having a very special guest in today's podcast. He is Hamza Taqi. He is a public speaker, he is a consultant, and he is Chief Excitement Officer in Knowledge Consultancy. He has been in marketing field from last 30 years. An engineer turns into a marketer. How all this thing happened? We will be going to discuss this in today's podcast. So please don't skip this podcast and take notes from Hamza Taqi. So without any further delay, let's dive into the podcast. So ladies and gentlemen, we have a very special guest today, Hamza Taqi. He is a author, he's a coach, and with that, he's a marketing specialist. So today, it's an honor for us having you on our podcast.
The honor is all mine, Mr. Abraham. Thank you for very much for having me.
Yeah. Sir, when I was going through your profile, and I've seen that you became an engineer first, and mostly parents, they are very worried about their children, that they want their children to have a secure job. And you have done engineering, and after that, you started working in business, in banking side, and after that, you started working in marketing, and now you're a marketing person. So if we go back, how all these transitions happened, can you elaborate about your, can you tell the audience how was the roller coaster ride of your journey was?
That's nice. Yeah, it is. Life is roller coaster, you know. Life doesn't go in a straight line. It goes up and down and it goes sideways, you know. So basically, as you know, when I was young, when I finished high school, uh, all I was thinking about is to be like a pilot. You know, I was, very intrigued with the travel and seeing the world and stuff. So really, really, I wanted to be a pilot. And then I applied for pilots, and they interviewed me, one of the companies, and they were supposed to send me to, when I finished all the interview, they were supposed to send me to UK to study to become a pilot and then work in their company. And then one day I was at the airport waiting for any captain or a pilot to go out. Then I stopped one of the pilots and I asked them several questions. I asked, how is, being a pilot? And he said, why do you ask? I said, I want to be a pilot, and I got accepted. And within 2 months, I will be going to UK to study. And he told me, do you love it? I said, yeah, of course. Who doesn't love traveling? But he said, you have to think about it a lot because it doesn't have any stability. Like, look at me. And of course, he was older than me back then. And he said, I'm not married yet. I cannot marry because, I cannot stay, intact. And that word, family and stuff, a little bit made me hesitant. So I applied for engineering. And back then, in early 80s, you ought to be an engineer or a doctor. And even to date, and your parents will be, as you said, will be very proud of you. You finish an engineering, and I finished an electrical engineering in 88. And of course, as an engineer in our environment, we go to the oil sector, you know, because the oil sector is very demanding, and it has a better future. So I applied there, and to my surprise, they told me you have to wait 6 months to 1 year. And I said, wow, that's a long time. And then so I said, okay. And then my sister told me to apply to the banking because she saw me that I'm like bored and stuff. She said, why don't you apply in the bank and work just, temporarily until, the oil sector wake up from their sleep and call you, and then you'll be okay. So I said, fine, I have extra papers, documents. So I went to one of the bank, I applied, and after 1 week, they called me. So I was shocked, I was surprised. And I was happy that, they acknowledged me at least. And so we went to the exam, we were 50, and they wanted 5 only. So they split it 25-25 through the IQ test and some mathematical test and what have you. And then they selected the top 10. And from the top 10, they would select the 5 after 2 interviews. And the interviews, like, it was my first interview, like serious interview in my life. And it was really funny for me, Arham, because it was 2 rooms. You go to one room, and if you succeed in that room, then you go to the other room. Okay. So I went to that room. There are 3 people, gentlemen, and they were asking me questions, and they were trying to put me down. Yeah. For example, one of them asked me, "What's your objective in life?" And I said, "I want to be a millionaire." And immediately he said to me, "What? Forget about being a millionaire working for the bank. Even your tennis," I put, in my, hobbies, play tennis. He said, "Even you cannot have time to play your tennis. How can you be a millionaire?" So they would try, they would ask you, who do you know? Where do you go? And they try to put you down. And because I was like, this is a temporary job, I was confident enough to reply to them in a cool way. And I was, I usually back then I was like, I get agitated and I get nervous very fast before I, get the skill and the knowledge that I have now. So I survived that interview, and I went to the other interview where all the GMs or the C-level of each sector of the bank are sitting. There 7, and they just ask you questions, and they just want to get to know you. And one of them got to pick you. Okay, so the IT guy, because you're an engineer, he picked me and he asked me several questions, and I said, to be asked, I answered the question, was engineering question about communication and satellite and so on. And I said, to be frank, if I want to be in the bank, I don't want to be working in the computer developing codes, and I want to be with people. And from that, the GM for retail picked it up, and he said, you're going to work with us. So I worked in the retail, and to cut the story short, they have 1 year on the job training, on the job, on off the job, to upskill you. And for me, that was fun because I was learning entirely new stuff. And that made me, wanted to learn more and wanted to learn more. And 6 months after that, the oil sector called me. I asked my boss back then in the bank, and he said, Hamza, you can go for the whole day. Spend the day there. This is your future. And it was nice of him, Salah Al-Awadi, to say this. And I went and I spent the day in the oil, in where I was supposed to work. I didn't like what they were doing. Now, mind you, I didn't know why. I didn't know because this is like, when you get a job in the IT and stuff, they put you in the support, IT support. So you do small stuff like, installing a laptop, a PC for someone, installing a software. And I didn't like that, And I said to the team leader, I want to go. I'm not going to get the job. He said, why? This is good. I said, no, I'm in the bank. I'm learning new stuff, and it's more fun in the bank. I'm learning. I'm like growing, and I see myself much different than the work you're doing here. And then he smiled and he said, well, it's your choice. So I went back to the bank and I continued in the bank. So banking really was my first school. I learned a lot in the banking. I started, after like 7 months or 8 months on the job training. One of the managers in the head office picked me up, and he said, we want him to be with my team. So I was taken from the training and put in a team of 4, and purely they're doing sales. They're doing what we call now direct sales. So I had a bag, nice, those Samsonites, that with the codes and tack, the open like a box, And I had all the contracts there, all the literature for the bank and the brochures. And I would go out. After like 8 months, I get business card. For me, that was like, wow, that's an achievement. I have my own business card and I get to go and leave. I have freedom. I make appointment and I go meet, merchants and try to sign them and get to introduce them to the bank and pull them in and build that relationship with existing and so on. So I like that because for me as a young chap, I don't have to like sign in or put like stamp or something to say that I'm in. No, I'm very free. I can go. I have to submit a core report. Where did I go? Who did I meet? What happened? What action is supposed to be? This is what happened, and that's where I went into really, the business side of the equation of that, and I can continue the story. It's a long one.
It's really, I really enjoyed a lot, and it's a roller coaster ride. And I think I can totally relate to it because I've been switching fields many times. So yeah, uh, as you said that it was not your cup of tea. Engineering was not your cup of tea, and you have switched to banking side, and you were
Yes.
learning a lot of things at that period of time. Uh, when we are learning new things, there is a chances we made mistakes. We make mistakes, and making mistakes, it's a human nature, right? So what sort of lessons you have learned from your mistakes? And secondly, how was different from like we are studying when we are studying in universities? uh, they taught us theories, but practical life is totally different. So can you share your experience from your mistakes and the kind of study you had? It helped you in your practical life?
Okay, that's a good question, sir. And what I feel is that, or the conclusion that I came to is like, uh, the bachelor degree that you get in any field, it's it's a certificate that says that you are able to learn more, anything. And basically, see, it's and now I teach that. Now I teach that, you can learn anything you want, anything. And I give example of Raham Haragi. Raham Haragi, she became a Nike spokeswoman, um, for the Middle East, and she's a young lady, very petite, kind, and comes from a conservative family. She was able to convince her parents and her family to climb Mount Everest, and she reached the top of Mount Everest. Now we all know Many men, strong men, full of muscles, couldn't reach, Mount Everest, or they died, or they quit uh, in the way. But she made it. Now, why? Because she had the passion. She wants to prove to herself that she's able, and to other women that you are able too. So basically, uh, I feel that the bachelor degree or the university that you get, it's equip you that you can go to any field you want. And especially with engineering, with engineering, you go through differential equations and dynamics and electrical circuit and so many weird stuff, really, very hard, tough equations that you have to do so many, like 2 pages of solutions to get to the results. So for me, uh, the business side became a lot easier, with that background. Or at least it's not easier. Nothing is easier, but at least you see it. You're coming from all these tough equations that you were solving, and so on. That this is, to calculate the loan, how many months and how many, for me, that was easy, so it helped me, my engineering background. And I will tell all your audience, Arham, that don't shy away of, you have a, we have parents that tell their children, I want you to be a doctor. Just because he is or she is a doctor, they want their children to be a doctor. Now, the child maybe have a different capability or intuition, or let's say talent, deep down, that he or she wants to be a business woman, uh, and then they put her into medical school and she becomes a doctor, and guess what will happen? She is a businesswoman, so she will charge high, and she will not treat anybody who is ill for free, because she had that business mentality. So, knowing this is that I want to tell your audience and all of us, and I want to tell myself, be free, whatever you like. Especially when you first graduate, it's the time to make mistake, as you said, and to learn from the mistake. The earlier you make mistakes, the better. You don't want to make mistake when you are gray hair like me, you don't want to make those mistakes, because you want to make those mistakes earlier. So my advice is to try different stuff and make mistakes in the beginning, and fail and get up, and fail and get up, and fail and get up, until you find one thing that you love to do. And that will be your success story. That will be your legacy. Hold on to it, no matter what's your background in school. Now, coming back to the school and what we gain from school, it's definitely helpful. The experience we had, the knowledge and the learning that we have, it's amazing. It helped us a lot. For me, as an engineer in the banking, it made me successful when I started doing product development. Now, with the product development, to develop a new product or to enhance new products or service within the bank, you need to communicate with the IT people, the developers who develop the IT, because, it's a one-way develop the idea of the product and the marketing theme and the application and the terms and condition and all this. But then you have to make an interface for the user or for the banker to open that account or that product, or, so they have to do some coding within the IT area. And it was, for me, I can understand them. They can understand me very well. And that really made me fly within the product development industry. And I became a very valuable asset for the bank that I was working in, because my communication with the IT guys was seamless. So mistakes, we have done so many mistakes, and we will continue doing mistakes. Mistakes are there to grow us, to make us better. Now, the problem with some of us is when we make mistake, we start holding on it, and we keep it, and we say, this is me. No, it's not you. It's a step. It's a situation, and we all go through situation. And sometimes we need to take a decision, and sometimes we take a wrong decision by turning the wrong lane. That mistake will cost you more petrol and time, because you will get out of from that bottleneck or something to get to where you want to go. So you learned from that mistake. Next time you'll be more careful. Next time you'll be much better and prepared for such things. So I love mistakes, and we should embrace mistake because they are only there to teach us, to grow, to make us grow, and to prepare us for the next stage. If you don't do mistakes, that means you're not doing anything. Now, only when you take actions, only then you can make mistakes, and you can learn from those mistakes, and you can grow. But if you don't do mistakes, that means you're not doing anything. Or, like, for example, I was the other week doing some work with one of my clients, and they are all into innovation, and they're purely, their core value is innovation. Now, when we made the deal with them, they wanted an outdoor team building activities, no presentation, nothing. It's only outdoor, and it's like 50 people, and only one activity to another, And the day of they selected, and it was raining. Okay, so we couldn't do the outdoor, and the lady was really furious. She was like, what to do? What am I gonna tell my? I said, relax, it's okay, it will work out, no issue, we can make it indoor. And then we made half of it indoor. We were able to communicate with the hotel or the venue, and they gave us a restaurant, which is much better than any. They made the restaurant open for us, and we did not all of them, until like noontime. We did some of the exercises that we could have done, and then at noon the sun just came, and it was beautiful, and we said, let's go outside. And we went outside, and we completed the event outside. So I always say, no worry. There is a song for Dire Straits. They say, why worry? There will always be sunshine after rain. There will always be laughter after pain. So why worry? There is always laughter after pain. There is always sunshine after rain. And you make your own heaven, let's say.
Really well said, and I think I'm learning a lot. And every ending opens a new door of a new beginning. And I think you should be not repeating those mistakes again and again. You should plan, and as you said. So I will jump to the next question, which is related to your field now, because you are a marketing person, and we want to discuss how much important marketing is for young entrepreneurs, and if they are starting, what sort of strategies they should make to market their new startups, new businesses, and how was your marketing journey, how you switched to banking to marketing.
Okay, let's take it from the top. How I switched, and then I will go into the entrepreneur and how they would do the marketing strategies.
Okay.
When in year 10, actually, in the bank, year 10, I met the CEO, who is the boss of my boss, and I was heading the product development back then. And he asked me in the elevator, Arham, he said, Hamza, do you want to be a banker or a marketeer? And to be frankly, back then, I didn't know what I was doing. I was happy, I was learning, I was growing, I was promoted, I was liked. So I was satisfied. I was completely happy and content. But this question was raised in the elevator, And I had to answer. Because I was in marketing, I said marketeer. Then he said, good, because if you told me you want to be a banker, I would have told you to go to trade finance. So from the sales experience, I gradually, the department of the sales became bigger, and we started having not only sales, we started having business services as well. And then from that, the some of the team became project managers, and they were given some, because they have a very good operational background, they were given some a task to do in terms of feasibility study for certain products and so on. And we work with them, and we changed the department, and we developed a new department within the marketing called product development. So when coming back to the CEO, John Wright, God bless him, he said, Hamza, but it's good you said marketing, because banking is trade finance, but you are an engineer, you don't have the marketing qualification. Why don't you sort out your qualification? And I will support you. We will sponsor you. Check out cim.co.uk. So immediately it was like, this is a long story. I told you the long version, but it was like maybe 50 seconds, the whole thing happened. And he left the elevator. I went to my floor, and then I went immediately to my workstation, and we didn't have Google back then. I think Netscape or Yahoo, I don't know, one of them. So I put cim.co.uk, and here comes the Charter Institute of Marketing in UK, in Berkshire. And I got involved in it, and the bank supported me, and I got the 5 qualification. I became a chartered marketeer. Now that gave me another insight, because in marketing, we talk about the 4 Ps, and this is for our entrepreneurs. You have to have a product or service at least. You cannot be an entrepreneur without a service or a product, right? And then you have to price that, because you need income to grow, to expand, to sustain. So you need to price it intelligently, competitive pricing, skimming pricing, penetration, depending on the product, what you have, and the strategy that you have. Then you have to promote the product, and you have to have a place to sell it from. These are called the marketing mix. Then they added another 3. They called them the servicing mix, the service mix, which became the people element of the marketing mix, the process, and the physical evidence. Now the process is like, you say you go to a bank, you go out with the ATM card. You go to another bank, they tell you we'll deliver it to your office, or you have to come after 3 or 1 week. So that's the process. It became part of the marketing. So when you are an entrepreneur and you're doing, for example, a cafe, what's the process of the cafe? The process of sourcing the cafe, the suppliers who's giving you the coffee beans. What are you going to do with them? How are you going to grind them? How are you going to roast them? And what sort of machine are you going to use to get the espresso, the cafe latte, whatever you are selling in your cafe? And then how is it going to be paid for, and how is the customer, what kind of, you're going to use ceramic, or you're going to use other kind of material? So all this becomes like the physical evidence, the showroom that you have, the tiles, the whole atmosphere, the whole experience. But because I became subject matter in sales, the bank started asking me to train newcomers on sales, to train the branches on selling skills. And then they said, no, I want you to train on customer service, then on marketing. And then the Institute of Banking Studies, they started asking me from the bank to go and train on their premises. So when I saw the people element in the marketing mix, my heart lit up. And even within the 10 years gender that I had with the bank, I've always, even my boss was people oriented, and we would work really hard, and we would work at home just to make him successful. Just because he loves us, just because he wants to make us successful, because he's taking care of us, we want to do everything for him. So I said, people are the most important element in the marketing mix. Without them, you cannot do anything. You cannot do the product even. You cannot do the promotion. You cannot do nothing. And the people, they have the heart, and they have the head that they think of, and they have the heart, and then they have the hand where their skill is. So you have the KSA, the knowledge in the head, and the passion or the attitude in the heart, and the skills in the hand. So you have the three H's, and with those three H's, if they overlap in a nice way, you get to the big H, which is habit. Then you do stuff like it's nothing for you. It's like, you do it like natural, like riding the bicycle, like riding the bicycle. How did you learn to ride the bicycle? You can learn anything, my friend, anything. If you know the process, if you know how, just go follow the process and you'll get there. Anything. So entrepreneur, go for it. Have like have a plan, have a strategy, and know. But I don't want somebody who wants. If we're talking about a coffee shop, since we're talking about coffee shop, I don't want someone to go and because he loves coffee or she loves coffee, and they say we want to open a coffee shop. No, don't do that. Before, go and work in a coffee shop. Work in the coffee shop that you love, and start from maybe sweeping the ground, the floors. So yeah.
The golden principles, and I think that the golden experience have been shared, and I have learned a lot. And that you have explained the whole marketing process from learning to implementing. And I think a lot of entrepreneurs, a lot of aspiring people got a lot of things from you. Now I will be like adding surprise rapid fire question for you, and because mostly people think that entrepreneurs, they have a very busy schedule, businessman, they don't have time for themselves, but they are also human beings like us. They
Yes.
usually do normal things as well. So I will be asking you some rapid fire questions, then you have to answer very quickly. So
Okay.
the first one is tea and coffee. Tea or coffee?
Coffee.
Coffee. Morning bird or night owl?
Morning.
Morning bird. Okay. Last book you read and what sort of message you got from it?
Oh my God, I read so many books. Which one is in my mind now? Uh, God healing powers.
And the message you got from him, from that book?
The message is God loves us, and
Okay.
He created us. He brought us in this life to experience this, and God will take care of us. We don't need to be worried about tomorrow. We don't need to overthink life. Things will be, going in a good way if you have a trust in God, and you don't need to worry because you are under His canopy. So you're fulfilled, and you don't need to uh, go back too much in the past and live the past. Live the present, live moment to moment and moment, because God in one of his or there is some sort of hadith. I forgive me, I don't know the exact, but in the meaning, I will tell you the meaning, that says God that uh, I didn't ask you for the pray or for whatever you do, the good deeds that you do for tomorrow, that you ask me for the risk or the money or anything or any benefits you want tomorrow. So as if God is telling us to live life day by day and not to worry. And if my day today is good, Arham, if your day is good today, tomorrow is day is good, then your week is good, then your month is good, then your year is good, then your life is good. So if we take it day by day, we and immerse ourselves in the time that we have and do whatever we can do to the maximum, and we don't need anything. Because guess what? Many people, they go to sleep tonight, and a percentage, they don't wake up. Now, what guarantees I'm going to wake up tomorrow? Why am I worrying about what's going to happen to my kids or my children? Like, I have 4 ladies. Now, I don't call them girls anymore because 3 of them have masters, and one of them is about to graduate in May as an architect, and they are living in Manhattan. They're doing their schools, they're doing their work in Manhattan. Now, am I going to sit here and worrying about them? Where they are under the protection of Allah, God. He will take care of them. And I have, a trust in God that will take care of them. And alhamdulillah, they are doing perfectly fine. And I'm very content and thankful and grateful for what they have been.
Okay. Favorite destination for a holiday?
A place did I go to or I didn't go to?
Yeah, your dream place, or like you want to
Dreams,
spend
I want to
your
be
holiday.
in New Zealand.
New Zealand. Okay. More calls or text?
Uh, Text.
Text.
Because of my
Okay.
job, Arham. Uh, my phone is always on silent, um, um, 24 hours on silent. So, and it's an idea to not to keep the phone. Um, the phone is a tool, but nowadays we are becoming the tool instead of the mobile. Uh, because it's very, very, very intriguing and very exciting and very addictive. Um, so I'd rather people text me and I will text back. It's easier. Uh, there is no, hello, how are you, and all these, things, and it cuts it. And then on most of my time, I'm either with you, like in podcast, or I am on an interview, or I am on a lecturing. I'm doing a workshop or something. So I'm always on the floor. So even my friends or even my relatives, my family members, they know. So they all, text me, and they got used to it, that they know that, I use text more than
So
I was
yeah.
not supposed to explain, right, Arham? I was just supposed to say text.
No problem. No problem. No problem. So yeah, we have to come back on the track as well because we have a time limit. So we have to discuss a lot of things.
Yeah.
When I was going through your profile, I've seen usually you are a chief executive officer of a team coach consulting company, knowledge consulting company. Uh, Usually, CEO means a chief executive officer. The thing you have mentioned is chief excitement officer. Like, what is it? Can you explain this terminology for the better understanding of our audience and for me as well?
This is funny, yeah. Mr. Excitement is one of the nicknames that my learners gave me. Uh, See, I get involved with many program for a year or for 6 months. It's like certification, big things for like branch managers and something like this. And I teach 2 models, mainly sales and marketing. And I try to make my class or the workshop that I do interactive. So I talk less. I let them talk. I let them play and do, play role plays and do on, making projects and stuff. Uh, so it's always, and I always do icebreakers and little activities here and there. So they're always excited, and they, themselves, they gave me the name Mr. Excitement. And then, when they were renewing my business card, I said, well, let's put Chief Excitement Officer. And we have, the office boy in the office. He's a CEO as well. He's the Chief Entertainment Officer, yes. And my partner is she's a CEO as well. She's the Chief Engagement Officer. So we're all CEOs, we're all C-level. And that's, that's the way to do it.
Wow,
Yes.
what a way to what a way to introduce your designation. And I think I have to learn this skill as well. I have to master this skill. Sir, social media is a reality nowadays, and we are using social media on daily basis.
Hmm.
But creating a personal brand, you have talked about a personal brand as well. Creating a personal brand with the help of social media, how much it is important, and how to do that, creating your own personal brand of your business or your startup. How can we do that as a young entrepreneur?
Wow, that's a very important question, and it can take like a whole workshop on it. But basically, the idea is uh, each one of us is unique, and we have what it takes in us. No matter, you're familiar with, DISC and profiling and introvert and extrovert. No matter what type of personality you are, you have your own personal brand. You are your personal brand. And your personal brand comes from the values, what you love most in life, what you like to do, um, your why, your purpose. Uh, and it's difficult for many people, in um, the emotional intelligence. The first pillar is self discovery, or self respect, or knowing the self, and knowing how your emotions, how your emotions um, uh, dictates or influence your behaviors. So if you are an entrepreneur and you want to run a business, people have to know who you are. Now, how would they know who you are unless you come out? And thank you for this podcast, beautiful podcast, the business narrative (TPN) is a way for entrepreneurs to go out and to show themselves and to show their brand and what they believe in and so on. So social media comes handy really nowadays. In the old days, we used to go to print media and have interviews in the newspapers and so on, or TVs, and only the privileged, or the authors or the authority can get there. And now with the social media, it's become really easy, with the platforms that are there from different providers, that you can do so many things from different part of the world. You can connect and do so many things. And my advice for people to build their brand is to stay consistent. Consistency is very important, because I know many people of my friends and people that I know that are really good and they're excellent, but they lost credibility. And that's very important, that whatever you build, you don't want to lose credibility, right? So how they lost credibility is that they didn't remain consistent on their values. They switched. One day, for example, let's say, uh, let's put it on north and west. North is good, he will be with north. Then south is bad, now he's neglecting south. And then this is not the way to build a brand. A brand should stay consistent in their core, and then had layers of, let's say, services or different line of verticals, if I can say. uh, Leveraging social media, depending on your brand, depending on what sort of business you are in, so you can select the right media that you can focus on as the core area, and the other media as support. So being there, consistency, showing, giving content, giving content marketing, being doing blogs, being an expert matter in the field that you want to be, or at least bringing people who are expert, or sharing some expertise from others, from your mentors, to show what you are about. So people who feel you will follow you, or people who need you will follow you, or people who who believe in what you believe in will be your target audience, will be your audience, and will be your, hopefully, your customers.
Very well said, and I think a lot of your entrepreneurs learning a lot of things. At the
I
end,
hope.
we have a time. Yeah, we hope so. And do like it and do share it. If you like, do let us know your feedback in comments as well. So we have a time limit, and there are a lot of things we need to discover, we need to discuss, but we have time limit. At the end, any message you want to give to young people, aspiring people who are struggling, who are confused, who want to do something in their life, any golden tip you want to give to them?
See, I want to tell everybody, not only young people, only people in our, age, and uh, it's it's what you put in your mind. Uh, and our mind carries the thought. By the way, there is difference between mind and brain. Don't confuse those. And I see so many scholars, they put the mind and the brain in the same language. That's why they have different words, the brain is the physical, the mind is not physical. Anyways, but the area is what you put in your mind, the thoughts that you put in your mind early in the morning before you go to sleep. What are the thoughts that you put? Do you put thoughts of gratitude? Are you happy because you are breathing? You know, look at the things that you have. Don't look at the things that you don't have. And have those thoughts. So you build a garden in your mind rather than some people build, garden of roses, really botanical garden with good thoughts. Some people build rubbish in their mind. So who do you want? And it's all about the thoughts. So when you build good thoughts, when you change the negative thoughts to elevated thoughts, to add positive thoughts, and maintain, take a deep breath, maintain yourself, and really be aware of the thoughts that are coming and how they are affecting your emotion, because they can make or break your life. So just thoughts.
Thank you so much for a golden tip, and I hope all the viewers, all the listeners have learned a lot of things. And if you want to be an entrepreneur, just do it. Just take the first step, and after that, all the paths you will get, and you will have a lot of things in your upcoming year. Don't worry about the future. Just live in the
Absolutely.
present.
Just jump, 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 just jump.
Thank you so much, Mr. Hamza, for your
Thank you.
precious time. If
Thank
you like this podcast, do share it with your friends.
you.
Come, leave a comment, leave a feedback here. We will going to meet you in the next podcast. Till then, bye bye. Take care.
Bye bye. Thank you. Take care. Good luck.